Hello, and welcome back to the Coot Villa channel. I'm Scott Cooper, and I'm here with Noah Fisher and Tommy Lazaridis to talk about and discuss Everton versus Aston Villa. Yes, it was 3 defeats in a row. Unai Emery had never lost 4 in a row. Ollie had scored in 4 in a row, and a no Villa player in the Premier League had never scored in 5 in a row. One of those records was beaten, the other one wasn't, and we'll be talking about all of that after this. Okay, so yeah, we were away at Goodison Park. The Villains travelled to the Merseyside, and we needed a win, boys, and we did get one in the end. But it was a tough game. It was a good battle. Everton played quite well in the first half, put us under a lot of pressure. And Tommy, yeah, what were your thoughts going into this game, and how the first half sort of progressed? How did Unai Emery see it?
We have to play for the supporters and to play for the confidence for the players. We need to win. We too many goals, but we come out on top with victorious.
Very good.
Performance. I honestly thought, Everton probably should have taken the lead, and there was maybe a bit of good fortune. I think it's got to be like one of the memes of the year, right, where the players kicked it into concert and it's kind of kept everyone on side. And Emmy to the rescue as usual, right? I thought he might have cracked a rib or two, but then turns out he just built like steel. So probably just some of Emmy's post-World Cup antics carrying over. And I thought it was good. Defense was pretty solid, resilient. I think obviously Emmy coming on changed the game, the complexion of the game. I think he said something about like it was a typical Emery sub. They were kind of fatigued, and Emmy would have just kind of opened them right up, which he did. Great to see McGinn obviously having great involvement again. It was a great win overall. I thought Kamara and a couple of the others, were kind of quiet, but then again, they're probably not going to get a lot of the spotlight. However, you look at Kamara's ball to Ollie, and he probably should have put that away. Ollie, 5 in 5 now.
Unbelievable.
That long may that record continue, right? Because you've got some pretty winnable fixtures, and we at least know he's going to score. I did see that. I think the last 4 or 3 that he scored in, we actually lost the game, so it's nice to actually change that kind of fortune.
Yeah, definitely.
Very happy.
I mean, it wasn't too much action really in the first half, Noah. There was a lot of crosses from Everton. There was the save from Emi Martinez off Anana, and then Ollie Watkins' chance, like Tommy was talking about, which I thought, like, if that's a penalty, if in my eyes, I mean, if I don't think it's a penalty, but if the one that Arsenal got a few weeks ago with Nketiah in the Man City game, where Edison comes out, does a similar thing, if that's a penalty, then that should be a penalty, or they're both not penalties. That was a bit of a strange one to me, but we sort of suffered a bit in the first half. But what were your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on the penalty. I mean, I understand why it's not given, and I wasn't screaming for it to be a penalty at all. I kind of didn't think live it was a penalty, if I'm completely honest. I thought Watkins got his shot off and, all that thing. But Jordan Pickford does do that a lot. Yeah. He does really fly in after, like, centre forwards. I guess he lunged his body at the saves, which is fair enough. But live, I didn't think it was a pen. If we got given as a pen, I would have been happy. Obviously, Villa got a spot kick, but I'm not so overly fast. I think Watkins got his shot off, and Pickford saves it just to follow through momentum.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just don't think the rule's consistent. I've seen other penalties given with similar things.
Welcome to the Premier League, Scott.
Well,
Consistency is not a thing.
Well, funny thing is, you look at Idrissa Gueye's tackle on McGinn, same thing. He actually touches the ball, but I think the ruling, to my understanding, and really just some YouTube comments that I've come across, is that if you get the ball, but the follow-through takes out the player, but if you didn't get the ball, would that player have had a scoring opportunity? And the answer is yes. So same thing with Ollie, right? And like Pickford's the last line of defense. I don't know if the ruling's interpreted differently for goalkeepers or if they're the last line of defense.
Yeah.
Anyone watching it this week, right? Feel free to leave your inputs in the comment section. But yeah, I think it's an inconsistent rule that's applied or not applied when it probably should be, and vice versa.
Yeah, I think Idrissa Gueye from the first angle that you see the replay looks like he gets the ball, but if you see the second angle that they showed, I think he just misses it. So
he definitely got McGinn first anyway.
Yeah.
His foot hits the ground and then bobbles up just as the ball bobbles up. So it looks like he's touched the ball, but I guess when you do look at it from the other angle, right, it's just like in sync, funny enough.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll take it. We don't usually get good fortune on our side.
Well, that's right. Yeah, and we let's talk about the penalty because that was the first sort of real moment in the second half for us. We made the subs. We brought Emi Buendia on and Alex Moreno, which I'm surprised that he's not starting because that seems to be a really odd one. We've talked about it in the last few weeks as well. Like, he brought him in from Real Betis and he started quite well. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it was because Luca Digne was his former club and he thought he might fire him up for that game.
That's what I thought. But then, I don't know, like, I think pre-game I saw a few people question Cash, Digne, Ramsey, and who was the other one in the front third? Was it maybe McGinn? They
McGinn or Bailey?
Not Bailey or McGinn, one of them. They're questioning why those four started. Like, you would have thought it would have been Young, Moreno, Buendia, or even Coutinho. I think everyone said Coutinho wanted a spot. Surprised Coutinho didn't come on at all, but hey,
well, he wasn't even in the squad because he had a shoulder injury. Apparently, I didn't know anything about it until the team was announced.
Down from the stands if you need in the second half, but
it's a shame because he scored last week and was quite good. Yeah. So the squad is looking pretty thin, and I was a bit surprised with some of the changes. Leon Bailey, Noel, was another one that has come into a lot of criticism recently. He lost his place against Arsenal back in this match, and I think he probably didn't do himself much favors to keep his spot. He didn't have a great game, did he?
Look, not really, but that's Leon Bailey for you, isn't it? I think the reason he was dropped for Arsenal was just a tactical switch. Yep. I think they obviously went for Buendia, more advanced with Coutinho, a couple more playmakers against Arsenal. But against someone like Everton, I guess his pace, let's be honest, Tarkowski and Cody aren't the quickest of centre halves. Yes, they're very strong.
Yeah, but they just out-muscled him. When the ball was knocked up and he had his back to goal, he couldn't hold on to anything.
Ollie.
No, Bailey. Ollie did a great job in terms of.
Bailey actually won a few headers in the front third.
When he was in front of him, he did really well. But as soon as he got into like a physical one-on-one with him, he just struggled. But when you come up against two class centre backs, it's always going to happen. And hopefully, he finds form against Palace at home.
I'd like to see Emery sometimes switch to wingers. I think it's like if it's not working, I'm going to leave you on for 60 minutes and just drag you. At least mix it up. You never know, right? Like, I don't know. I just thought maybe just mix it up. Duran not to come on at all. I thought that was a bit surprising because he's been really impressive.
Yeah, I think he probably would have come on if it was still 0-0. But the fact that we had the lead, he probably thought, let's just hold it. Let's keep what we've got. And
Ollie's hold-up play has been fantastic, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, when he's scoring the goals and doing what he normally does with his work rate and his hold-up play and his touch is there and he's got confidence, he really is what we need. And he's really having a great season. And that's just like fingers crossed he stays fit and he can continue for the rest of the year because, what he's producing now is, I think, probably as good as we've seen.
Yeah, I think there's been two real contributors here, or probably three, right? The confidence shown in him by Emery. We got rid of Banks, who was actually a high scorer at the time. Yeah. And we love Danny. Good on him. Scored some great goals for West Ham already. Shame couldn't fucking do it for us, but it's funny when a team plays to your strengths.
Yep.
Look what happens, right? So I think, Emery shown confidence in him. I think even before that, when he brought in the striker coach, and I think becoming a father, those are probably three big contributions to his recent, I don't know, just switching form. It's almost like a completely different player. I think like 1-0 or 2-0 and he's dribbling, right? And then from the outside of the 18, pinged a great shot and forced it into a last-minute save. That's something he wouldn't have done about 6-7 weeks ago. So it's funny what confidence can do for a player like that, especially a forward.
One thing that I heard a lot on social media, and I was having a bit of back and forth with our friend Adam Lockhart on Twitter about this, was the playing out from the back. And it's a bit hairy at times, and we don't have it down pat as of yet. But my personal feeling is that this is Emery's system. This is his philosophy. This is what he wants to do. And that's not going to change. The players might change if they can't do it going into the summer. He might bring in some players that are more suited to this kind of philosophy, if you like. But, a lot of people, well, Adam was saying particularly that this is a negative style. We don't have the players to do it. We're going to get caught out. Look at all the goals we've been conceding lately. We need to change it up. What are your guys' feelings on the playing out from the back and the real sort of possession style that we seem to be implementing?
Well, I'll go first, Tommy, because I know you probably have a lot more say than me. It's not, as you said, Scott, it's not going to go anywhere. And when we do get it right, we score goals from it. Like, because we suck them in. And once we beat that press, we do actually have a really good attacking threat. So I don't think it's negative at all. I think it's actually a good way to go forward for us. If you have rapid players like Leon Bailey and Ollie Watkins, that I really think it plays to their strengths. But yeah, I know we conceded against Leicester. Was it once or twice from playing out from the back? But as you said, in the summer, once we get the players that Emery wants that can actually play out from the back and give them more time to actually learn it, players have probably never done it before. Like, I've never seen Villa ever do it in my whole time being a Villa fan. But it's not going to go anywhere. It's Emery's way of doing it. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's something different.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's better personally than, some of the long ball game that we had under some of our previous managers.
Bruce.
Yeah, of course. Like, you do want to go back to that. I mean, obviously there's a time and a place for everything. You've got to do it all, in the moment and use a football brain and be smart about it. But, I think overall that it does create space, and we do have players like Dougie Luiz, Kamara, Emi Wendia, Ollie that can play this sort of style. Maybe at the back, we've got a few players that it doesn't come naturally to them, but they've got to either improve, be coached, and get better at it, or replaced. So, what do you think, Tommy, about this?
I think probably taking the Everton game outside of it, and let's just talk about numbers, right? We conceded 11 in 3 games, and a team like Leicester, who were in terrible form, picked our pocket twice. So I think there's a time and a place for it. Don't telegraph, and it's almost pretty obvious what we're going to do all the time. So I think mix it up a bit. I think that's the problem. We're almost always playing it out from the back. So it's only a matter of time before a lot of teams just look at that Leicester footage and they'll catch us out, right?
Yeah.
And Kamara, particularly, he was a little bit smarter with how he uses his body this game, and pretty easy to, turn over in the back third when everyone's pushing forward, because that's the style, right? Everyone start pushing forward, play it out from the back. If we turn it over, we're in trouble, right? Because then it's just him, but whoever the forward is for the other team, but it's Conter and Mings, and, it can be dangerous sometimes. I think Morpay, right? I think he caught us off guard at one point, and they probably should have scored and taken the lead at the time.
Definitely.
So we were 11 goals in 3 games, which isn't good. We turned it around, but, I think that's something Emery needs to look at. I think, again, time and a place, and that's what preseason's for. Test it out then, not when we're 3 losses in a row, and he just keeps doing it. Because if we lost today, if someone picked our pocket, because it's happened in the last 3 games, right? It's only a matter of time before people turn on his back. We know what the Villa fans can be like sometimes. But
definitely, I think it just needs to be quicker,
I agree.
more precise, and more dynamic in how we do it. Sometimes I agree with you; it can be sort of telegraphed, predictable, and a little bit slow. And I think that's only going to come through confidence and doing it more and more. And we're in a position now where we're mid-table. We're probably going to finish around mid-table. Maybe we can finish, 8th, maybe
right.
7th if we have a great end to the season, but we'll probably be about 10th, where we are now. So this is the time to do it. Put in the hard yards and see who's going to sink and who's going to swim.
Yeah, that's true. And I also, like you said, I think it's the cattle on the park as well, right? So some of our, I guess I'll pick out the centre-backs, right? They're traditional win the ball, hoof-it centre-backs. They're not ball-playing centre-backs like Carlos. And if we were to get someone like Pau Torres, and I'm not saying we are, but, they're just...
You are the Messiah though, Tommy. Like, it says it right there.
Jonathan David, Pau Torres, and Marcus Thuram come to the club, I'll probably just call it a day.
You did also say Gerrard would be gone before halfway through the season.
We said Ollie would be,
and Ollie would be, yeah.
Mate, Ollie wouldn't have been far off, mate, if Gerrard was still at the helm. Trust me. But Gerrard was gone, so I did call that.
So Emery's turned Ollie into a superstar. Is that what you're saying?
I think confidence does a forward wonders, right? Of all players. And I think Ollie's actually taken a lot of initiative on his end. I think he knew his finishing was poor. You don't have to be a genius to read the Twitter section and just know that everyone's questioning his finishing. It was never his work rate. It was never his commitment to the club. And you want to be the central talisman. You got to back it up, right? So goal a game in the last 5 is fantastic, and I can certainly see the form continuing. But yeah, I think it's exciting times. I'm all for test and learn. We can test it out now. I think we're like 12 points clear or 10 points clear relegation. And I think Everton are kind of just dipped back into the bottom 3, if I'm correct.
Yeah, they're 18th now.
Yeah,
I got to say, got on a limb. Watkins is our best striker since Benteke. I think I think he is. I got to back that in because
I think Benteke done it for a whole season or 2, and he carried the club when we were shit all round. Right, Ollie's had a much better support around him. Benteke did it with trash.
No, Grant Holt was pretty good.
Come on, Scott. I'm saying this is the support he was getting.
I
and Buendia feeding the ball to him, right? Like Benteke, we had fucking Brad Guzan, for God's sake, in goals, right? We were leaking goals. We always had to score like 3 or 4 to win. We'll never forget that Sunderland 6-2 game, though.
Yeah,
never. But I just think consistency wise, and how many goals actually scored just over 100 games. He is
and I think managers have a say in that, right?
But he'd almost have 40 goals in what do you reckon? He's on like 38 goals now.
I do think Benteke probably edges him one because I've got his shorts and I don't want him to go down in value. But I like I said, I think Benteke was the only thing keeping Villa up that season.
Right? He was. He
carried the club. Where Watkins, look, again, don't get me wrong. I hope if Ollie can do it remainder of this season and next season, guaranteed he'll surpass Benteke.
But Benteke sort of in his career dropped off a cliff, whereas Ollie Watkins, I think, can get better.
So do I.
I think Benteke dropped off a cliff because he went to a system that didn't suit him, right?
Well, he went to Liverpool, Crystal Palace.
He was good at Palace for like 2 years.
But he went to Liverpool and then he kind of just rot on the bench, right? He'd only play like Europa League games or whatever they were in at the time.
Yeah. Brendan Rodgers sort of didn't really know his best system.
That's right.
The best way to use him. Yeah.
Confidence is key, like I said. And if Ollie continues this, absolutely, I think he'll surpass Benteke. I think he's going to go on an 8 to 10 game goal streak, Ollie. I can see it. Like, we've got winnable games, and even if we don't, I know he'll at least score because, Emery's backing him, right? He didn't even bring on Duran. He's like, Ollie, you're killing it. He's still chasing like 80, 85 minutes. I was like, I was loving that, man.
Yeah, he nearly scored another one with the header. Pickford made that unbelievable save.
Down, which takes off a lot of the momentum off the ball. If that was direct on goal the first time, would have been in. So,
you're told to head it down, but not quite that far down. If he gets a slight better angle, it just bounces down on the line and it goes in.
Yeah, that being said, there was no one there to react on it, right? It's like when you shoot the knuckleball and it bounces in front of the keeper.
Yeah.
Which I think he actually scored a goal a couple of weeks ago. Was it Leicester, I think, right? The first goal. Caught whoever the keeper was sleeping.
Nah, Buendia had a long-range shot and then he followed it.
Yeah, Ollie followed up. That's what I mean. Sometimes you just got to be alert to that.
And he took his penalty well. Straight down the middle, just confident.
Oh, man. I was sweating. I'm like, I was sweating, but not as much as usual because I know he was in form, right? So I was like, we'll see where he puts this because this is his statement now to take all pens.
Well, I was sweating because at first it looked like Emi Buendia was going to take it, and he hadn't touched the ball. He'd just come on, and I'm like, oh no, not one of these situations where he comes in cold.
But then Buendia would have Panenka that thing and down the middle like a cool cucumber. So
well, maybe he does like a Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford in the Euros, where he comes on, he hasn't touched the ball, and he misses.
Well, I thought I didn't know what to think. Is Pickford save it? Ollie finish it? Is Ollie going to sky? But
I backed him.
This finishing coach double his wage, right? Because Ollie's really found his shooting boots.
Well, he's seeing the psychologist, isn't he?
The same Emmy goes to, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems to be working.
Yeah, I'm stoked for him. He's a team player, but obviously as the forward, you want it to be about you, right? Like, why wouldn't you? Got to have that bit of arrogance and greed. A good forward is greedy. You have to, but you got to back it up, right?
Did you see the video that Aston Villa put out of himself reviewing his 100 appearances and stuff, talking about his goals and all that? you haven't seen it, I'm
No.
not sure. Check it out. Really good video. But like he was talking about like his first goal, which was against Burton in the cup. And he said, I didn't look too happy, but I was just happy to be off the mark. You know, I was just stoked. He's just such like goals, as you said, so like make him so confident. And then like he said, like when he scored those two against Arsenal when we won 3-0 away, he's like, I finally felt I could score at this league. Like he scored against Liverpool and Arsenal. And he's like, bang, I'm actually here.
Noah, right? Like scoring a few worldies and that means nothing as a forward. If you like, well, he's got to bang in. I think he's got to go 15 to 25 next season, realistically. Even if it's on the lower end of that spectrum, we'll take that. You know, we didn't bring him in on a $60, $70 million transfer fee, and he's expected to bring in the goals, right? So I think if he's growing and he's on that kind of linear trajectory, like I'm happy with that. But he's got to take this scoring form and you know continue it into next season.
What would you want him to score this season then? How many do you want him to score this? How many do you want him to score this season?
How many is he on now?
I think he's on about 8.
8 or 9, I was going to say.
I think realistically he'll hit 15 to 18 ish. Like
and you would take that from the start he had? Like
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish, and he's 5-5 now, right? So I think he's going to be in red hot form. And we've got games. I'm not saying it's easy. There's easier teams to play. We've got City and Arsenal out of the way, and I mean, if we took points from them, right, like confidence would be higher on the whole team. So I really feel like he's carried the team in today.
And if guys like Emi Buendia and Coutinho or Bailey or whoever can share the workload and share the goals as well, then he doesn't need to score 25 goals. He can score 15 with his work rate and his ability to facilitate other players, which he's got in his locker. And that's a Premier League striker and a really good one. So I'm really happy for the way he's progressing. Emery seems to know how to get the best of him. I really agree with you, Tommy, that selling Danny Ings was a masterstroke now, really, because it's really given him that confidence and that responsibility. And I think that's really working well. And good on you, Ollie Watkins. Make it 6 against Crystal Palace for us. That would be great.
I think, look, I know Palace drew with Liverpool, but I think we can really upset them. I think we're pretty settled. I know we need points at home. That's my only bloody worry. If it was away, I wouldn't be concerned. But I think we need to make Villa Park a fortress. And I'm sure Emery's, got to stick out at training and beating them to death. But we really need to make home ground a fortress again.
Well, I think Palace are probably the other way. They're good at home and not so good away. So we'll see what happens there. But we've talked a lot about the forward players and the midfield players, but Tyrone Mings was there when he was needed most. Clear that one off the line again, and I think that we can't take this sort of thing for granted. He throws his body on the line. He's there when he's needed, and I thought he had another terrific game.
Apart from the momentary lapses, which he fucking does too often, he's actually pretty good technically, right? He knows where to be in the right spot, always throwing his body on the line. But the real question is, what the fuck was Conser doing?
That was strange. The whole thing was strange.
Posing, and then I'm like, oh my God, it's still in. And then obviously Emi Martinez, that's just standard for him, right? I don't know, like I've seen a lot of rumors saying he's linked with a leave, mid end of the season. And
I don't believe it yet.
I think Scott or you said it right. Keepers tend to be a bit more loyal, but I think if 60 to 80 mil comes in, and it'll be around that region, right? He's still contracted for a few seasons. I think he'll go. It's big money, man. And I think there's some pretty good keepers in the EPL just floating around that we could probably sign for half of that.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's probably inevitable that he will go one day. Hopefully we can hold on to him for another season. That would be ideal. But yeah, the summer is going to be all about will he or won't he go Emi Martinez, just like it was about Jack Grealish a couple of summers ago. There
was the rumours for like 2 seasons, and then he went on the second or third season, right? So could it be like that with Emi? We've only just started hearing the rumours, but I think with someone like Emi coming off, winning the World Cup, I think it can be accelerated for his departure.
Yeah. Maybe we could sneak into Europa League or something like that, or the conference, and that could, get him to stick around for a bit. Who knows? Let's hope so, because that save against Onana, that wins us the game.
Good save.
If we go 1-0 down there, I'm not sure we come back. It was looking a bit shaky at that point. And
if you look at Everton's results under Dyche, they won both of them 1-0 at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
They,
think Emery post game saw one of the write ups, and they go like he knew it's going to be a dogfight against Dyche, and I think that's why he started Ramsey. Right, it's got that engine and a bit more killer instinct then. But then when he is a little bulldog for his size, don't you worry, he starts a bit of trouble and he's not afraid to throw himself at some great.
Exactly. I
and
thought he did great.
he loves scoring against Everton. He scored
Yeah,
now in the last
he's
three
scored
games
his
against
last
him.
3 against them.
Let's talk about it because that was the highlight of the match. I thought it was a brilliant goal. There was
Mings.
Mings up to Ollie, beautiful touch. John McGinn, just
That's
brilliant. Little run, little ball into Buendia. Then Buendia just left 3 Everton defenders, on the floor, and
So
great
good.
finish.
The power behind that opposite foot shot. When that went in, I was just screaming in my bed. I'm like, no, honestly, I was like, oh, is there offside? VAR, nothing. We're all right. We're good.
I'm not sure if you guys saw the Villa on tour.
Yes.
Which obviously I always watch it mainly after every win, but I watch them all the time anyway. But just the limbs from the away end when that second goal went in, I think just the relief knowing that we got 3 points again.
Yeah, 100%. I was just at peace. I'm like, even if you start counting down the clock in your head mentally, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't see it happening. I thought we could have gone for a third. I don't know if you guys saw, but Watkins actually got himself in a really good position. 1, which is great. 2, full celebrations. I think it was a relief for everyone because when Dia scores, it starts with Ollie's great penalty and relief for the whole team. I think
all the players got involved as well with Buendia's celebration. I think everyone but Martinez was there, which is just the boys are so together. They're so joined up.
And I loved Ollie with the
it's
5. It's showing a bit of confidence in himself. It's good to see.
I got to say though, because one of my mates, his name's Max. I have to give him a shout out. He's a massive Everton fan, right? He didn't watch the game live this morning, but he was sending messages through the group chat that we have. I want to read out the messages he sent this morning.
Yeah.
He goes, "How the fuck are Villa winning? Mopé can't finish from a metre out. So embarrassing." And then he goes, "If we had a striker, we would have won. Probably only time we've been robbed against you guys. Other times you've beaten us easily."
Well, I mean, he did have a great chance, and that was the one we spoke about where we gave the ball away, and that was a team finish. I think he's got some good points. I think a draw, maybe was more of a fair result.
If they were
up,
going to
take your chances.
They had the Onana one, the Mopé one. That should have been 2-0. They would have almost locked up shop.
They're going to say, unfortunately, the Premier League's very cutthroat. You don't take your chances.
But we had the Ollie chance, and we created our chances in the last 20 minutes. I don't know. I mean, I guess we had a centre forward coming off 4 goals in 4 games, and they had Neil Mopé hasn't scored in something like 16. I think I heard the commentator say
he only scored once, I think, right? And anyway, look, we can hypothesize all we want, but Max, I mean, stop being fucking salty, mate. Right?
And I replied to him with this photo of Ollie Watkins.
Yes, you did. Yes,
I did.
You did.
So
awesome.
A good one.
Speaking of togetherness and camaraderie, I watched the Man City highlights. It's just so synthetic and fake. There's no unity in that team. They'll hug and they're like, "Oh, come in and hug." It just doesn't seem genuine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'd expect the City fans to comment on this, but there fucking aren't any. So
I will say,
that's it. That's very synthetic.
We didn't touch on it a lot, but the Tyrone Mings clearance. I know we touched on it briefly.
Yeah.
But the week before against Arsenal, we had that shocking header back towards Saka, which he scored. And I guarantee, let's say Mings pushes that, kicks it into the goal. Let's say he nudges it in for an own goal. It gets spoken about way more on Villa Twitter than his amazing goal line clearance does.
Yeah,
I agree.
Fans we don't win if he doesn't make that. If we don't win, because we go down 1-0, heads down, we're down 3 games, this would have been possibly 4th. It starts to, compound.
I'm saying the Villa fans have got to get around him when he does something like that, because I thought it was an unbelievable clearance. But as soon as he does a shocking header or a bad pass, Villa fans slate him.
Man, fickle.
They slate him.
Look, as much as I say Pau Torres, I still think it'll be Carlos and Mings next season. Why would we sign him long term? Why would we make him the second highest earner at the club to park his ass on the bench? I think Emery knows the leadership, and almost Emery comes in, he goes from almost being banished from the squad. There's questions around why he's not on the team sheet with Gerrard to starting. He's the captain. I know it's Emmy.
I reckon he'll be captain next year.
I think he'll be captain. I think it's natural. And honestly, like, we slate him, and we'll slate Wally when he hasn't got his shooting boots on. But when things are going well and whatever, like, of course we back the players.
And nothing against McGinn, by the way. I thought McGinn's captaincy. I just don't think
it just didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense.
So to make him captain is one thing, but to banish Mings, like, that's just wrong altogether. You know. So anyway,
well, the one that got banished in the end was Steven Gerrard. So.
Well, yeah, now he's linked with PSG. It's like me leaving my ex who's a 6.
He's not going to PSG.
No, he's not going to PSG.
Hey, it's like me getting dumped by my ex and then going to date Miss Universe, right? Makes no sense.
But I'll tell you one thing. Like, do you know how, Tommy, you were talking about how, like, the Man City, when they celebrate scenes, fake?
Yeah.
Right? That's how it felt when I was at, like, the Southampton and Leeds game. Like,
Yeah.
it just felt there was nothing there. Like, when they was, like we won against Southampton, you know, it just didn't feel like they really cared a lot about the win.
Well,
and against Leeds, if they weren't so close to like, literally you have to walk past the away fans to get off the ground, they wouldn't have come and clapped. But even with the bad results at the moment, they're still going to thank the fans.
who
But they
leads?
used to never do that.
Leads.
No, I'm saying
Villa.
like Villa fan.
Yeah.
Like Villa, they never
Well,
used to.
I think Emery, right, was at midnight. He's still at the freaking ground, the bloody junkie. Go home and, I don't know, tickle your wife, do something, you know. Jesus. You know,
He's
like,
so good.
he's a junkie, and, you know, like, after the game, he's probably reviewing tape, or he's on his laptop as soon as the game's like, all right, next week, right? You know, like,
You got to do the accent when you do that. You know, how does he do it? Come on.
he's probably at the laptop. He's like, hey, defense.
Yeah, we should probably wrap up there. One more thing I want to say quickly that I touched on last week is the Emmy, stop doing the time wasting, the yellow cards. The yellow cards are really annoying me now. That's like 4 games in a row. I think he's been booked.
And I love Robin Olsen, but Emmy, please don't get annoyed.
Oh,
exactly.
Where's he? He's banished, by the way. He wasn't even on the bench the last few weeks.
We had like 2 keepers. We had like
2 young and 2 and Siege.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like it. I don't want him to do it anymore. Stop it. You'll get banned.
Emmy, I know you listen to this, Emmy, but listen to Scott. All right, he's had enough, Emmy.
Yeah.
I've had enough. I love you. You're great. Just stop with the time wasting, please. Or just be a little bit smarter with it. I don't know.
I thought he might get done for a second one. I wouldn't be surprised with him.
It's going to happen one day. And then, Noah, you won't be saying, shut up. I'll tell you. All right,
we got to get some score predictions in.
Yes, I was going to say the Palace score predictions. I'm going 3-0. I reckon
I was thinking the same.
Ollie with 2 this time, and the other one maybe Super John McGinn. Why not?
I'm going to go
4-0. Says Noah.
4-0,
wow.
And I'm going to go a second Premier League hat-trick for Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I'm going to think 3-0. I reckon it'll be Ollie 2, and I reckon Bailey. He always scores at home, so I think Bailey.
He's never scored away for Aston Villa, except for against Bolton Wanderers in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, so I think look, this will be a platform, and you know they call it dead cat bounce, right? So you know we had a couple bad losses with Emery. Thing is, they're all winnable games, so it's more frustrating losses, and we just accept it. And mind you, this is Man City and Arsenal, and it's funny.
Exactly.
They all the time. Right? These are the top 2 teams, far ahead of the pack, and it's like, well, you know, we almost beat them. We should have beat them, and you know, if we make a few more additions and things start to gel and it's more cohesive down the track, we all of a sudden are competing. So, anyway, I'll take that. I think now we've bounced. I reckon we'll get a couple wins in a row. So, Ollie 2, Bailey 1, 3-0.
Yep, it was a huge result. Yeah, thanks for all your support. Thanks for all your likes and your comments. Please let us know how you feel about the Everton game, what you saw, what you liked, what you didn't like. Let us know your predictions for Crystal Palace. And we will be back after the Crystal Palace match up the Villa, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.